Before she says it's over, she shows you, not with words, not with drama, but with small, silent changes most men completely miss. She stops reacting the same. She pulls back, just a little, and suddenly, the connection you thought was strong starts slipping through your fingers. Here's the truth. By the time a woman says she's done, she's already been gone emotionally for weeks, sometimes months. And if you don't understand these signals, you won't see it coming until it's too late. Welcome to That's Woman's Secret Signals, where we break down the hidden psychology behind female behavior, attraction, and emotional shifts most men never notice. If you want to stop guessing, if you want to start understanding what she's really feeling, even when she says nothing, then you're in the right place. Let's start with something subtle, but deeply powerful. At first, you won't notice it clearly. There's no big fight, no dramatic breakup speech, nothing obvious, but something feels off. The energy between you has changed, and you can feel it in your gut. When a woman begins to fall out of love, the very first thing that shifts is emotional connection. She used to lean into you, sharing her thoughts, her day, her random feelings. Even the smallest things mattered. But now, conversations feel dry, surface level, almost forced. You'll notice she no longer opens up the same way. She stops telling you what's bothering her. She doesn't seek your advice like before. And most importantly, she stops needing you emotionally. This isn't because she suddenly became independent. It's because the emotional bond that once made you her safe place is slowly fading. Here's the truth most men miss. A woman doesn't disconnect physically first, she disconnects emotionally. And once that emotional bridge weakens, everything else starts to collapse. You might try to fix it by talking more, texting more, or asking, "What's wrong?" But she'll often respond with, "Nothing. I'm just tired. It's not a big deal." But deep down, you know it is a big deal. Another clear sign? Her reactions change. Things that used to excite her don't anymore. Jokes that made her laugh now get a polite smile. Moments that felt special now feel ordinary to her. It's not that she's trying to hurt you, it's that her emotional investment is quietly fading. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. She may still act normal on the surface. She might still reply to your messages. She might still spend time with you. But the depth, that emotional intensity, is gone. It feels like you're talking to her but not connecting with her. That's the difference. You'll also notice she stops asking about you. When a woman is in love, she's curious. She wants to know everything, your thoughts, your stress, your dreams. But when she's falling out of love, that curiosity disappears. Not because she's busy, but because she's no longer emotionally invested in your inner world. And that's the hardest part to accept, because there's no clear moment where it ends. It just slowly fades. So if you're feeling like something is missing, but you can't quite explain it, you're not imagining it. Emotional distance is often the first silent signal that she's already starting to let go. At the beginning of a relationship, effort is effortless. She wants to see you. She makes time, even when she's busy. She adjusts her schedule just to talk to you, text you, or spend a few extra minutes together. But when a woman starts falling out of love, that priority quietly disappears. And it doesn't happen overnight. It starts with small changes. She takes longer to reply. She cancels plans more often. She's too busy for things she once made time for easily. At first, you might brush it off. After all, people do get busy. Life happens. But here's the difference. When a woman is in love, she finds time. When she's falling out of love, she finds excuses. Pay attention to consistency, not isolated moments. If she repeatedly puts you on the back burner, it's not about timing, it's about interest. Another sign? You stop feeling chosen. In a healthy relationship, there's a clear sense that she values being with you. You feel like a priority, not an option. But now it feels like you're competing for her attention. Her phone becomes more important. Her friends suddenly come first, every time. Even trivial things seem to outrank you. And the most frustrating part? She doesn't see anything wrong with it. If you bring it up, she might say, "You're overthinking. I just need space. Why are you making this a big deal?" But deep down, you're reacting to a real shift because when someone values you, their actions show it consistently. You don't have to chase their attention. You don't have to earn basic effort. Here's something important to understand. Effort is a reflection of emotional investment. When her feelings were strong, showing up for you felt natural. Now that those feelings are fading, effort starts to feel like a burden to her. That's why she pulls back. And you might respond by trying harder. You text more. You plan more. You try to fix things. But this often backfires because instead of bringing her closer, it can make her pull away even more. Why? Because you're trying to compensate for something she's no longer giving willingly, and that creates an imbalance. One person chasing, the other distancing. At this stage, the relationship starts to feel one-sided. You're investing more, while she's slowly checking out. And here's the hard truth. When someone stops prioritizing you, it's not confusion, it's clarity. They may not say it directly, but their actions are speaking loud and clear. So if you feel like you're no longer important in her life the way you once were, don't ignore it. Because this shift in priority is one of the strongest signs that her feelings are no longer where they used to be. There's a moment in every fading relationship where the physical connection changes, and you feel it instantly, not just in the bedroom, but in the little things, the casual touch, the way she used to hold your hand, how she'd lean into you without thinking. All of that starts to fade. And here's the part most men struggle to accept. Physical distance is usually a reflection of emotional distance. When a woman is deeply connected to you, affection flows naturally. She wants to be close. Touch isn't forced, it's instinctive. But when her feelings begin to fade, that natural desire disappears. At first, it's subtle. She pulls away slightly when you try to hug her. Kisses become shorter, less meaningful. She stops initiating physical contact altogether, and eventually, intimacy starts to feel mechanical, like she's going through the motions instead of actually being present. You might notice she avoids situations where closeness could happen. She stays on her phone instead of sitting next to you. She chooses distance, even when there's no reason to. She seems tired or not in the mood more often than usual. Now, let's be clear, everyone has off days. Stress, mood, and life can affect intimacy. But this isn't about occasional changes. This is about a pattern, a consistent lack of desire to connect physically. And here's where it becomes emotionally confusing. She may still allow physical contact, but it feels empty. There's no spark, no warmth, no emotional presence behind it. It feels like you're close to her physically, but miles away emotionally. And that disconnect hits hard because physical intimacy isn't just about touch, it's about connection, validation, and emotional closeness. When that disappears, the relationship starts to feel hollow. Another important sign? She stops responding to your affection the way she used to. When you compliment her, she brushes it off. When you try to be playful, she doesn't engage. When you reach for her, she doesn't reach back. It's not rejection in a loud, obvious way. It's quiet, subtle, but consistent. And over time, it creates distance that words can't fix. You might even start questioning yourself. Did I do something wrong? Is she just stressed? Am I overthinking this? But deep down, you feel the truth. Because attraction and affection don't just disappear randomly. They fade when emotional connection fades. And here's the reality most people avoid. You can't force someone to feel closeness they no longer feel. No amount of effort, gifts, or attention can recreate genuine desire. It has to come from within her. So when physical affection starts to vanish, don't just look at the surface, look at what it represents, because it's not just about touch. It's a reflection of how she feels about you now. This is where things start to feel confusing and sometimes even frustrating, because instead of distance alone, you begin to notice something else, irritation. Things that never bothered her before now suddenly do. The way you talk, the jokes you make, your habits, small, harmless things. She becomes more critical, more impatient, less tolerant, and you're left wondering, why is everything I do suddenly wrong? Here's what's really happening beneath the surface. When a woman is emotionally connected to you, she naturally overlooks flaws. She gives you the benefit of the doubt. There's warmth in how she responds, even during disagreements. But when her feelings start fading, that emotional cushion disappears. And without it, everything feels heavier to her. So her patience drops. She snaps more easily. She gets annoyed over small things. She may even start arguments that don't seem to make sense. It's not always about what you're doing, it's about how she feels about you now. And here's a hard truth: when love fades, tolerance fades with it. You're no longer seen through the same emotional lens. Instead of comfort, your presence can start to feel draining to her. That's why her tone changes. Conversations that used to feel easy now feel tense. Simple discussions turn into disagreements, and even silence between you feels uncomfortable instead of peaceful. Another key shift: emotional detachment. She stops reacting the way she used to. If you're upset, she seems indifferent. If something good happens to you, her excitement feels forced or absent. If there's conflict, she doesn't try to resolve it. She withdraws. It's like she's physically there, but emotionally checked out. And this is where many men make a critical mistake. They try to fix the irritation. They become more careful, more accommodating, more apologetic, but that doesn't solve the real issue. Because the irritation isn't the root problem, it's a symptom. The real issue is her emotional disconnection, and no amount of walking on eggshells can rebuild feelings that are fading internally. You might also notice she stops investing in resolving problems. Before, she wanted to talk things out, fix misunderstandings, keep the relationship strong. Now, she avoids deep conversations, she shuts down quickly, or she simply doesn't care enough to engage. And that indifference is more telling than anger, because anger still has emotion behind it. But indifference, that's emotional withdrawal. That's when someone is no longer fighting for the relationship or even in it. So if you're seeing more irritation, more distance, and less emotional response, don't just assume she's in a bad mood. Look at the bigger picture. Because this shift often means she's no longer emotionally invested the way she once was. This is the final and most telling shift. Because when a woman truly falls out of love, it's not just about how she feels in the present, it's about how she sees the future. At the beginning of a relationship, there's always a sense of us. Future plans feel natural. Trips you'll take together, goals you'll build side by side. Even small things, like events next month, are automatically assumed to include each other. But when her feelings fade, that vision disappears, and it shows up in subtle but powerful ways. She stops talking about the future with you. No more, we should go here someday. No more, next year we'll. No more excitement about building something together. Instead, her language shifts from we to I. I might travel. I'm thinking of doing this. I don't know what I want right now. And at first, it might not seem like a big deal, but over time, you realize you're no longer part of her long-term picture. Another clear sign: she avoids commitment conversations. If you try to talk about where things are going, she becomes uncomfortable, vague, or dismissive. We'll see. Why rush? I just want to focus on now. Now, that might sound reasonable on the surface, but here's the deeper truth. When someone sees a future with you, they don't avoid clarity, they move toward it. Uncertainty, in this context, often means hesitation or quiet disengagement. You may also notice she becomes more emotionally independent, but not in a healthy, connected way. It feels like she's preparing for life without you. She relies on you less, shares less of her plans, makes decisions without considering you. It's not growth together, it's separation, happening slowly. And here's the hardest part to accept: she may not officially end the relationship right away. Why? Because leaving completely requires confrontation, and not everyone is ready for that. So instead, she emotionally checks out first. She creates distance, reduces investment, lets the relationship fade until it almost ends itself. And by the time the breakup conversation happens, she's already moved on emotionally. That's why it can feel sudden to you. But for her, it's been a gradual process. So if you notice she no longer includes you in her future, don't ignore it. because a relationship without a shared future is already standing on unstable ground. None of these signs, on their own, guarantee that the relationship is over. But when you start seeing multiple patterns together, emotional distance, lack of effort, fading affection, irritation, and no future vision, it's no longer a coincidence. It's a shift. And the most important thing you can do isn't to chase harder or force things back to how they were. It's to see the reality clearly, because understanding what's happening puts you back in control of your decisions, your standards, and your future.